Okay, this here is the PunkRC mini light controller, and this is the version for the car and truck. One thing that makes this different is it has 2 input wires and 2 output wires. Now this requires no extra channels on your truck. It just needs to basically listen in to your speed controller and your steering. And by listening to these signals, it will determine what your truck is doing, and then it will control your lights appropriately, like with brake lights, with backup lights, with whatever. And so to hook this guy up, now on the top half, there's these 2 that go into your receiver, and on the bottom, there's 2 that are exactly opposite. Now on the unit, on the very top plug, okay, this one connects directly to the very bottom plug. If you look, they're right on top of each other. And so this one, the unit does not get power through this wire. It only listens to the signal, okay? And this one we hook to the steering channel. And the reason why we don't get power from the steering channel is because often that is our less reliable source of power. And then also guys who are running higher power servos, it's not going to be an issue. So as you can see, I've got my battery plugged into my receiver, but it is not being powered right now. And so let me unhook this just for demonstration. Okay. And then the one below it goes into your throttle channel, which for me is channel 2, with the steering in channel 1. Okay, so this goes into channel 2, my throttle. Okay. So that is the basic hookup, and then what I would do is then this wire, which is this would go to my speed controller, and the very bottom wire would go to my steering, and the signals just pass right through the unit. Okay, so that would hook up, and now what I would do is let's turn this guy on. Now this is the first time hooking it up, and so we will need to set the trims on it. Okay, so the first thing that you do with the unit is, first of all, to perform a factory default reset, is you hold down this button for several seconds, and then once it chimes, there, now it is back to factory defaults. Okay. Now the first thing that you do is, okay, the lights have several different meanings on the blinking and the color. This is actually thinking that I'm steering and doing something else. That's because, hey, you know, I've got my trim set up on here. You know, every guy's truck is different on where he has his trims. And so what you want to do is have your radio set up so that your truck is trimmed out, okay? Your trims don't need to be at 0, but you know, everything needs to be basically put in neutral, as to, like, your truck needs to be sitting still, wheels pointed forward, okay? Trim set how your truck needs it. Okay, and then what you do is you hold down this button for just a moment as it's flashing green and let go. Now the first thing that it did is it found your center. It happened really quick. Now what it wants to know is which way is forward. So I'm going to hit forward, and which way is right. So I'm going to steer forward and right. So now the unit knows where center is, and it knows where your steering trim is, and it also has the direction set. So that's how you calibrate it. It's super easy. Okay, now what we're going to do is now we're going to explain the light states, okay? Okay, first of all, the cyan blue represents a stop state. This means you are in neutral. Let's see if I can bring my transmitter a little closer. Okay, now if you stay in neutral for a while, it will go into a parked state. And in this state, basically your blinker lights will all blink like parking lights. And so it takes a while, because it's not going to say you're parked unless you're really parked. So let's give it a second here. Okay, it looks like it has changed. I think it's just, okay. Now if you, so right now it thinks it's parked. It's hard to tell the color difference. Right now it's blue, and then if you move the throttle, there's cyan. There's very little difference between it, but you can actually tell on the unit. Right now it's the cyan color. It's kind of teal, and in just a moment it will change to its blue. Let's see if we can see it here. There. See it change? Okay. Now you're in the park state, okay? And anytime you hit the throttle, let's go, okay, I'm not parked anymore, I'm moving. Okay. So if you're going either forward or backward, the green light is on. Now if you're slowing down, the yellow light comes on. So slowing down, and then if you brake, basically it turns on the red lights. So if I go forward, I'm going forward, then I slow down, the yellow lights come on, I go forward, and then I hit the brakes, there your brake light's coming on. And now I'm going in reverse. And so that's how it reads your state. And then what also it does is it knows when you're turning. This actuates your turn signals. And so if I get my transmitter and I turn right, anytime you turn off center, you basically get a flickering of the light. And so going forward still is a flickering green, slowing down is a flickering yellow, and braking is a flickering red, and then if you're parked, it's a flickering cyan. And so that is basically how you know it's reading you correctly. We're going to make another video. I don't have my remote with me right now, but we'll cover programming. And programming is done by basically taking your truck and holding down that until it blinks red, and now with the white light on, it is in the programming state. And so that is where you get your remote control and you aim it at the infrared receiver right there, and you basically do channel up and channel down, and you circle and you cycle through each light and you set its function. And so these functions can be found on the web page. I will make another video, but that's the basic hookup. And then when you wire your LED lights, not sure if I can get a picture here, but on the bottom is labeled the light number and then positive. And so the positive wire, they're all common. So if you want to run one positive wire from one of these, you can. Basically, each negative wire of your LEDs will have to hook into here. Of course, no need to use resistors. And to exit programming mode, you just hit the button once, and it comes back in your regular driving mode. And so that is the hookup of the car and truck light controller.